So in this class, we'll see the different stabilization methods or biasing methods or biasing schemes, we call them. So in all these biasing methods, we will be calculating the operating point and the stability factors. Okay. So the different methods of biasing are fixed bias is also called as base resistor method, and the second one is collector to base bias, which is called biasing with feedback resistor, and the third one is voltage divider bias. So these are the three different biasing methods. For each of these methods, we'll calculate the operating point. We'll do the operating point calculation. Operating point, nothing but what? Operating point or Q point is a point on the load line, which is represented by Q, VCEQ, comma, ICQ. Okay, so this operating point intercepts are VCEQ, comma, ICQ. So we have to find out VCEQ, comma, ICQ for these biasing methods. Second thing what we want to calculate is the stability factors. Stability factors are 3, S, S dash, S double dash. So this S dash, S double dash are the stability factors. S is with respect to dou IC naught, that is a variation of IC with respect to IC naught, that is nothing but dou IC by dou IC naught, by keeping, in this case, the remaining parameters VBE and beta constant. Okay, and S dash is nothing but dou IC by dou VBE. So in this case, the remaining two temperature dependent parameters are kept constant, IC naught and beta are constant. And in this case, dou IC by dou beta, by keeping IC naught and VBE constant. So we'll find out the three stability factors for each of these methods. Okay. So operating point we calculate VCEQ and ICQ. After that, we will calculate the stability factors S dash dash, S double dash. So before that, we will see what actually these circuits are, and for each of these circuits, we will calculate these parameters. Okay. So we'll start with the first method, fixed bias method. So a CE amplifier using fixed bias circuit is shown in the figure below. So this is a circuit diagram. All these circuits we will be doing it for common emitter configuration. Okay, common emitter configuration means emitter is ground, base is input, and collector is output. Base is input, collector is output, emitter is ground. So that's why this amplifier circuit, we call it as a CE amplifier. CE amplifier means common emitter amplifier. Okay. And in this circuit, we are using fixed bias method of biasing scheme. So fixed bias means if we connect a resistor RB to the base circuit between the VCC and the base, then we call this method as fixed bias method or base resistor method. This is also called as base resistor method. The base resistor here connected is base resistor method of biasing or base resistor bias. Okay, base resistor bias. And in this case, in this method, a high resistance RB is connected between positive terminal of the battery, that is the supply voltage VCC, and the base of the transistor. So this is the biasing element here, RB. And that is connected between the positive terminal of the supply voltage VCC and base of the transistor. Here positive supply, generally if anything connected battery as VCC, the meaning of this battery connection is nothing but, so battery symbol is actually minus, plus, minus plus negative terminal. This is negative terminal, this is positive terminal, and this positive terminal is connected here at this node. Okay, this positive terminal, it is written base VCC, just VCC, nothing but it is almost like plus VCC. It is not written positive, but it is default that plus VCC. Plus VCC means positive terminal is connected here. Then what happens to the negative terminal? Negative terminal will definitely be connected to the ground. Positive terminal is connected at this node. Say this node is A. So this particular terminal is connected at node. So this is VCC. So that the meaning of at any node A, okay, it is a node A. Simply if I put a connection like plus VCC, if you write at a node A plus VCC like this, the meaning is the positive terminal of this is a DC voltage. It is a DC voltage or DC battery, okay, DC voltage whose positive terminal is connected at node A and negative terminal will be default connected to ground. Okay, here it is positive voltage, negative is connected to ground. Suppose if a battery is represented at node A with minus VCC, suppose this is again a DC voltage, but minus VCC I have written here at node A. At node A is minus VCC means negative terminal of the battery is connected at node A, then the positive terminal is connected to the ground. Okay, that is the meaning. So now onwards we will not represent a battery exactly, but wherever you want to connect a battery at that node, if you write plus VCC, positive terminal is connected there, the negative will be by default connected to the ground. Or if at any node, if I represent minus VCC, then negative terminal is connected there, the positive terminal will be connected to the ground. That is the meaning of the connection. So at node A, now plus VCC is connected. So this resistor RB is between positive terminal of the battery VCC and it is connected to the base of the transistor. So the resistor high resistance RB is connected between positive terminal of the supply voltage VCC and base of the transistor. And in all the amplifier circuits, the output collector is connected to a resistor which is called as a load resistor. So this RC is a load resistance. This will be there in every circuit. This is common. Output is connected to a load resistor across which we calculate the output current or we will calculate the output voltage. Okay. So the load resistor will be there in all the amplifier circuits in the collector terminal, that is RC. Okay. And this VCC is a DC. VCC is a DC, right? This is a DC. But it is a battery. Now here to the input of this transistor, which is base. Okay, base. I will be connecting with an AC input. Okay, AC input, and output, which is collector. This collector is the output. Okay, this collector, which is output, we will be getting the AC signal. That means what? The AC input and AC output you will be getting. For AC input, we will be getting AC output, and this process of converting AC input to the AC output is controlled by the biasing voltages across the base emitter junction and collector base junction, so that emitter base junction is forward biased, collector base junction should be reverse biased. So the biasing of the transistor is taken care by the DC battery, and the amplification of the signal will be taken care by the AC input signal, and amplified version you will be getting AC output signal. So the DC takes care of biasing emitter junction and collector junction. Emitter junction should be forward biased, collector junction should be reverse biased, so that the transistor operates in active region. Okay, so the DC supply takes care of these things. Now what is that AC? AC is applied to the input. Input in this case is base. Okay, and you will be getting the output at the collector. Output is at the collector, and output is amplified version of input. Okay, so this is what is the AC. So that means what the CE amplifier requires both DC as well as AC. DC is for biasing purpose to keep the emitter base junction forward biased and collector base junction reverse biased, and the transistor is operated in the active region. Once this transistor is operated in the active region by providing the DC power supply, then we have to apply the AC input to the base, which is weak signal, okay, weak signal, and you will be getting a output as a strong signal. So here AC signal is weak signal, okay, and your AC signal is a strong signal, okay, and this amplification output is strong compared with input is done by the transistor whose amplification factor is beta. Okay, so that means we require the transistor to be biased in active region, and the transistor has got the beta factor, which is current amplification factor. The current amplification factor beta is equal to IC divided by IB, and if the input is weak signal, the output will become strong signal based on this principle that IC is equal to beta times of IB. Okay, so that means what AC signals are amplified by the transistor provided the transistor is applied with a DC voltage to operate the transistor in the active region. Now I hope you understood what is the purpose of DC to a transistor and what is the purpose of applying AC to the transistor. That means both the DC battery is connected to the transistor as well as the AC input is also applied to the transistor. So the DC will take care of the operation of the transistor in the active region by making emitter junction forward bias, collector junction reverse bias. And this transistor has got the current amplification factor in common emitter configuration as beta. And when you apply the weak signal at the input to the base terminal, the current with respect to that weak signal is IB. And the output signal you will get it as IC is equal to beta times of IB. Okay, so then output will be a strong signal. Okay, so this is what is the amplifier operation, right? Now what is that AC signal? We are connecting it to this transistor through a capacitor. This we call it as a coupling capacitor, and output is taken at the collector and it is taken to the load through another capacitor, which is C2. So this C1 and C2 are called as coupling capacitors. Coupling capacitors means which couples the input AC supply to the base of the transistor. So this is input signal. Input signal is coupling to the base of the transistor. So coupling is nothing but like a joint. Suppose if you want to join two pipes, you will be using one coupling element, right? A connector. Suppose you want to take an L junction or T junction. So if you want to couple two different elements, we will be using a coupling element. So here capacitor is a coupling element which connects the AC input supply to the transistor base, and once you get the output at the collector of the transistor, that collector output you have to connect it to the load. So when you are joining this input to the transistor base, output of the collector to the load, then you have to use coupling elements. Those coupling elements here are called capacitors. Why we are using capacitors as coupling elements is capacitor has a property that it will block the DC and allow the AC. Here the input whatever I am applying is AC input. So only this AC may be having some small amount of unwanted DC. That should not go into the base of the transistor. If that goes DC into the base of the transistor, then that DC will shift the operating point. So if the DC shifts the operating point of the transistor, then the output you may be getting is distorted waveform. So to avoid whatever the AC input I am giving to the base of the transistor should be pure AC without any DC. Suppose unintentionally, if any DC is coming in the input, then to block that DC, we have to keep a coupling element as a capacitor. So capacitor has a property of blocking DC and allowing only AC to pass through. So that's why these coupling capacitors are also called as blocking capacitors. What blocking capacitors? They are DC blocking capacitors. Okay, DC blocking capacitor. So this amplifier, transistor amplifier, is provided with an AC input. If any of the unwanted DC is present in the input, then that is blocked by the capacitor and only pure AC will go into the base of the transistor. And once this transistor amplifies, you will be getting the output in the collector, and that collector also, suppose if you are getting some DC generated inside the transistor, then that DC again should not go into the next stage of the amplifier or to the load of the amplifier. Therefore, at the output side also we have to connect a capacitor, which is called as DC blocking capacitors. So at the input side and at the output side, we have to connect a capacitors C1 and C2. The purpose of these two capacitors are to apply in AC to the transistor base, but should not allow to pass DC. And similarly, if any DC is added into the output in the transistor, then that DC should not be passed on to the load or to the next stage, which is connected in cascade. Therefore, at the output side also we have to keep a capacitor. So this C1 and C2 we call them as coupling capacitors, or the other name of these two coupling capacitors are called DC blocking capacitors. Okay, and I hope from this circuit diagram you understood why this circuit diagram is provided with a DC supply of VCC, and why this transistor is provided with an input signal of AC, and so that you are getting the output signal as AC. That means the purpose of this transistor is to operate it as an amplifier. So it amplifies AC signals, not DC signals. It is AC signal, it is amplifying. So AC signal it has to amplify means you have to apply the input as AC signal, so that amplified version of the output you will be getting. This amplified version you will get based upon the current amplification of the transistor, which is beta. Beta lies between 20 to 200. Therefore, the output current can be 20 times of the input current or maximum of 200 times of the input current. So that means this transistor has got an ability to amplify the output current minimum of 20 times to the input current or maximum of 200 times to the input current. So 20 times to 200 times this transistor can amplify. There are some transistors whose beta value is more than even 200 also. So we have to choose appropriately the transistor whose beta value is maybe 50 or 100 or 150 or 200, whatever it may be, so that output current is beta times the input current. So if output current is beta times the input current, voltage can be calculated to the load that we have connected by using Ohm's law. Output voltage is equal to current into resistance. Current is beta times of the input into the load resistance that we are connecting, so that output is also amplified version of the input voltage. Okay, and DC we are applying here. The purpose of connecting the DC is to operate this transistor in the active region by making emitter junction forward bias and collector junction reverse bias. That means both DC and AC are connected to this transistor, which has got their own specific purpose. Okay, so what is the behavior of this circuit for DC? What is the behavior of this circuit for AC? We have to treat independently. And in this particular module, we will be seeing only DC biasing circuits. Therefore, AC we will not apply. We will be only applying the DC. In the next chapter from Monday, we will be looking into amplifiers, which are applications of the transistors. There we see AC equivalent of the circuit. So amplifier is provided with both AC and DC. In this class, we will consider only the effect of DC on the transistor by ignoring the effect of AC. In the next week, we will see the effect of AC on the transistor by ignoring the DC. Okay, so that is what is the purpose of today's class. Now in figure, the base emitter junction is forward biased because the base is positive with respect to emitter. By proper selection of the RB value, the required zero signal base current and hence IC is equal beta times of IB can be made to flow. So to get the operating point, proper zero signal collector current should flow. But first we calculate the base current, zero signal base current. Then you know how to calculate the collector current, which is beta times of the base current. You know the relationship between the collector current and base current. Then this IC is how much? that is decided by the value of the RB. So we have to suitably choose the value of RB such that this IC will be exactly in the middle of the DC load line. Similarly, the VCEQ also. Okay, so this is the circuit diagram. So this circuit diagram, now what we have to do is fixed bias. Fixed bias circuit diagram has got one resistor RB which is connected between positive terminal of the battery and the base of the transistor. Now this circuit has got AC input as well as DC input, but we are now seeing the effect of only DC. Therefore, we have to draw the DC equivalent circuit of this fixed bias. The next slide shows you the DC equivalent. DC equivalent circuit can be obtained by making AC input, okay, VI, which is AC input 0. I have to make AC input is 0. If you make AC input 0, the behavior of the capacitor for DC equivalent, how the capacitor behaves for a DC equivalent, it behaves like a open circuit. Okay, so it behaves like a open circuit. For DC, it behaves like an open circuit. For AC, it acts like a short circuit. So DC equivalent, if I'm putting, then your XC value is infinity. That is open circuit. Capacitor is open circuit. So what is that I have done? These two conditions I have to apply to this particular circuit diagram. Now input is 0. Input is 0 means I should not connect any input. And this capacitor is open. So capacitor is open. And input is, it is not applied. AC, V in is not applied. If you apply also, because this capacitor is open, that will not be applied to the base of the transistor. And here even this capacitor C2 is also open. Okay, this C2 capacitor is open, C1 capacitor is open. So almost like this particular input is disconnected. This is disconnected, this is disconnected. So there is only the middle portion of the circuit which will be operated on the DC supply. This is DC supply, right? DC. This is also VCC is DC supply. So only the DC supply and the transistor with two resistors RB, RC only is working. The remaining portion of the circuit will be removed. So this particular circuit we call it as DC equivalent. If you just disconnect AC, then it will become DC equivalent. Okay, now the circuit is applied with only DC but disconnected with AC by open circuiting the capacitors, so that no input of AC is allowed to pass into the transistor. Now this circuit is called DC equivalent. To draw the DC equivalent of this circuit, what two things that I have applied? The input of AC is 0, and for DC the capacitor acts like an open circuit, so you have to open circuit or remove these two capacitors. Removing these two capacitors is nothing but disconnecting AC to the transistor circuit. So that is what is DC equivalent. I hope you are understanding. Okay, next. Now this is my circuit, DC equivalent circuit. Now I have to do all the analysis only on this circuit. So we'll start the circuit analysis. The circuit is, by disconnecting the DC, the circuit will become like this, which contains a transistor, the load resistor RC, then the base resistor RB. Okay, this circuit, now we have to consider this circuit as two parts. One is input circuit, the other one is output circuit. So you know already, emitter is ground. Okay, base is input, and collector, here it is collector, which is output. Okay, so now I have to divide this and this entire circuit into two parts. First one is input circuit, the second one is output circuit. Here input circuit can also be called as base circuit because input is base. So this base circuit is also called as input circuit. Okay, now first we will draw only the input circuit by ignoring the output circuit, and we'll do the analysis only for the input circuit. So if you draw the input circuit, then it will become this circuit. The circuit consists of what? Input circuit consists of a battery of VCC, okay, then a resistor RB, then the transistor with base emitter junction and connected to the ground. So this portion of the circuit from VCC to ground, we call this as input circuit or base circuit. I have just drawn that circuit only here. by ignoring the output portion. Output portion is the resistor RC and the VCE, collector to emitter voltage VCE. This portion I am not looking into. I am just looking into the input side. Input side, if you see, only base circuit, base emitter circuit. Base emitter circuit, if you see, we have got a base resistor connected to the positive supply of the battery VCC, and this base resistor is connected to the base of the transistor, and base and emitter will be having a junction which is called base emitter junction with a voltage of VBE, and the emitter is connected to the ground. So this pink color line which I have drawn shows us the path of the input circuit or base circuit. Okay, and that circuit is redrawn here separately. And this battery VCC, as I already told in the previous circuit, previous slide, the VCC is nothing but it is a battery with the positive terminal connected here and negative terminal is connected to the ground. Then I'm just connecting the actual battery here with negative terminal to the ground and positive terminal to the resistor RB. Okay, resistor RB. Then the resistor RB is connected to the base of the transistor, and the emitter of the transistor is connected to the ground. Am I audible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there was some break here. Network issue. Now, base emitter circuit is your input circuit. So input circuit can be base circuit or input circuit, or this also can be called as a base emitter circuit. Emitter is ground, which is common for both input side and output side. So this can also be called as base emitter circuit. Okay, so base circuit or input circuit or base emitter circuit. So I hope you understood. Base emitter circuit, if you take the portion of the equivalent circuit will become like this. Okay, now for this base emitter loop, now this loop we call it as base emitter loop. Okay, so for this base emitter loop I want to apply the KVL, right? So if you apply KVL, so this battery is, if you come in this direction, in the clockwise direction, this is minus VCC, right? And in the clockwise direction I am entering with the positive terminal into the resistor, and the current that is flowing here is the IB and the resistor is RB. Then in this case it will become plus IB RB is the voltage across this resistor, and across the base emitter junction the voltage is plus VBE. Okay, so in this loop if you keep on adding the voltages, in the battery it is minus VCC, in the resistor it is plus IBRB, and across the junction base and emitter the voltage is plus VBE. If you add all these three, you will be getting the equation of the KVL like this. I hope you are understanding. Minus VCC in the clockwise direction, if you apply KVL to the base emitter loop, minus VCC plus IBRB plus VBE is equal to 0. Three elements are there, three elements are there: battery, resistor, and the base emitter junction. So these three voltages, if I keep adding in the clockwise direction, that is the KVL to the base emitter loop. Minus VCC plus IBRB plus VBE is equal to 0. Is it okay? Now, in this VCC is equal to IBRB plus VBE, we can rearrange that. And I want to calculate what is the base current IB. Then if you rearrange still, then you will get IB is equal to VCC minus VBE by RB. That is equation number 1. So the base current of this circuit is VCC minus VBE by RB. VCC is a fixed value which we give it as a battery, maybe 10 volts, 12 volts, 15 volts, like that, a fixed value of the battery we connect. And VBE is also constant because it is a forward bias junction. Forward bias junction, VBE is nothing but the base emitter voltage, which is equal to the cut-in voltage of the diode. So VBE is 0.7 volts. VBE is, for a silicon diode, it will be 0.7 volts. And VCC is the given supply voltage. It may be 15 volts, 10 volts, or 12 volts. Say it is 12 volts. Say. Right, RB is the value that I have chosen in the circuit to connect. So this RB may be, say, 100 kilo ohms. Now if you see this VCC is 12 volts, VBE is 0.7 volts, RB is 100 kilo ohms. That means this IB we can calculate by these all values of the resistor voltage, VBE and supply voltage VCC. So therefore equation number 1 we can calculate easy for a given transistor with the given values of supply voltage and the resistance value. IB is the current that we have calculated. Now in the operating point, we are calculating actually the operating point, right? Operating point, the intercepts are VCEQ comma ICQ. Now I got IB, but I require actually the y-intercept is ICQ. Now to calculate this IC, we have got the equation IC is equal to beta times of IB plus ICE naught for CE configuration. This is for CE configuration. We are seeing CE configuration only. So CE configuration IC is equal to beta IB plus ICE naught. But ICE naught is very, very small compared with beta times of IB. Therefore, I am approximating that IC is equal to beta IB only. Okay. Then IC is equal to beta times of the equation number 1. Equation number 1 is IB. Then IC is equal to beta times of equation number 1. Then you will get the IC value as equation number 2. So whatever that beta also for the given transistor, it will be given maybe 49 or 100, whatever it may be. For the given transistor, the beta value is known, VCC is known, VBE is known, RB is known. Then we can calculate IC. This IC equation number 1 is your y-intercept of your operating point. Okay. Now in the process of calculating the operating point, we have taken the base emitter circuit or base circuit or input circuit, and I have applied the KVL. Then I calculated the IB. Then I calculated IC by the relationship IC is equal to beta IB, and we got that y-intercept of IC in the operating point. Is it okay? Now beta, VCC and VBE are constant for a transistor. Then IC depends on RB. VCC, VBE, beta are okay. But RB value I can keep changing the resistance what I choose in the circuit. So IC depends upon the RB. Now if you rearrange this equation number 2, we can write it as RB is equal to VCC minus VBE into beta by IC, or RB is equal to beta into VCC by IC, because VBE is very, very small. Just if you take 12 volts is VCC, 0.7 is VBE, 12 minus 0.7 will become 11.3. So approximately it is mostly equal to 12 volts only, more close to 12 volts only. So beta times of VCC by IC. So you have to, you will be getting RB value like this. So you have to suitably choose that this IC value to be more, your RB value should be less, or IC value should be less, then your RB value should be large. So how to choose this RB value is you can calculate by selecting that IC should be in the active region. To keep the IC in the active region, what should be the value of the RB? So this is the way how we can calculate the RB value or choose the RB value. So this in this circuit, base circuit, we calculated the y-intercept, which is ICQ, from the equation number 2. Now next we have to see the output circuit, because VCE is the output voltage, right? VCE is the output voltage, but ICQ is output current only, but it depends on the input current, just beta times of the input current. So input current can be calculated by using input circuit, then output current is just beta times of the input current. So to calculate the output current, we require the input current. Therefore I have taken the input circuit or base emitter circuit and I have applied the KVL. then I calculated the input current, then output current is just beta times of the input current. Therefore, I got this y-intercept ICQ. Now, x-intercept VCEQ if I require, then what I have to do is I have to take the output circuit, which is collector circuit, and apply KVL to that, and then you rearrange the equation to get the VCEQ. So the next slide will be collector circuit. Collector circuit is also called as output circuit. Okay, output circuit, or it is also called as collector emitter circuit. Collector emitter circuit. Now, collector emitter circuit, if you see collector emitter circuit, this particular supply voltage, the resistor IC RC, voltage across the resistor IC RC, then your VCE to the ground. This particular path of pink line, we call it as output circuit. Now I will just draw output circuit only, then your circuit will become a transistor with RC, IC and the power supply of plus VCC. Just I am drawing only the output circuit. In the previous slide, I drawn only the input circuit and I applied the KVL to the input circuit. Now in this, I am drawing only the output circuit and I will be applying the KVL to the output circuit. So if you apply KVL to the output circuit, maybe in the clockwise direction or in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay, if you apply it in the clockwise direction, this loop we call it as collector emitter loop, CE loop. Okay, collector emitter loop. If you apply it in the clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction, you will get the same equation. Suppose if I'm applying in the clockwise direction, so this one will become minus VCE. So this one will become minus ICRC, and this one will become plus VCC. Okay, in the clockwise direction. Then your equation is minus VCE plus minus ICRC plus VCC is equal to 0. It is in the clockwise direction. If you write it in the anti-clockwise direction, you will get it as minus VCC. The polarities will change. Minus VCC plus ICRC plus VCE is equal to 0. So you can write the KVL either in the clockwise direction or in the anti-clockwise direction. It is almost like taking minus sign and sending it to the right side, which is 0. That does not give any difference. Okay. So then from this equation, which is what is required actually, VCE is required. So I am just rearranging that to get VCE, so that I will get VCE is equal to VCC minus ICRC. Okay. So VCC is fixed value. RC value is also fixed value, is a constant which I choose it in the circuit, and IC I will get it from equation number 2, which was already calculated in the previous slide, which is IC is equal to beta times of IB. IB we got it in the equation number 1. So this IC value already calculated and VCE we got it now. Now for the operating point Q, which is VCEQ comma ICQ. ICQ I got it from equation number 2. VCEQ I got it from equation number 4. That's what is written here. From the base circuit we obtained IC like this. From the collector circuit we obtained VCE like this. And both of these two together are used in the operating point Q, VCEQ comma ICQ. VCEQ is this one, ICQ is this one. Is it okay? Now operating point we calculated by writing KVL to the input circuit and KVL to the output circuit. If you write KVL to the input circuit, we got base current, and we know the relationship that output current, collector current is equal to beta times of the base current. Then I calculated the IC value, which is y-intercept of your operating point. Then by taking the output circuit, collector emitter circuit, I have written the KVL to the output circuit. Then I got VCEQ, which is x-intercept of your operating point. So from the circuit analysis, by writing KVL to base emitter loop and writing KVL to collector emitter loop, we got the two values of IC and VCE, which are the operating point intercepts Q, VCEQ, comma ICQ. So this is the procedure how we calculate the operating point for a given circuit. So in the problems also, you will be given a fixed bias circuit with beta value, RB value, RC value and VCC, and you are asked to calculate the operating point. Then you can use these two formulae. IC is equal to beta times of VCC minus VBE by RB, or VCE is equal to VCC minus ICRC. These two formulae and calculate. Beta value will be given, VCC will be given, VBE will be given, which is 0.7 for a silicon diode, so silicon transistor, or 0.3 for a germanium transistor, and RB value also is given. Then you have to calculate. Or sometimes IC VCE will be given, you are asked to calculate RB or something like that. Then also you will be able to do. So, but everything here is applying KVL to the input circuit, KVL to the output circuit. So you need not remember these formulae of IC expression and VCE expression. You can just take the circuit diagram given in the problem and you just apply the KVL there itself to the input circuit to get the base current. Then you can calculate the collector current and you can apply the KVL to the output circuit and do. That means you don't remember the formulas that we are getting at the output of these derivations, but you remember the procedure how we are deriving the equation, so that in the problems some modifications may be done. Not exactly the same circuit may be given. Sometimes this emitter is directly connected to ground, some resistor may be connected here and connected to ground. So then also if you apply just the KVL to the input circuit and KVL to the output circuit, then it will be easy for you to find out the IC value and VCU value without remembering the formula. Okay, so you remember the procedure, not the formula in this case. I hope you understood the fixed bias, how we are calculating the operating point. Do you have any doubts? If you have any doubts, you can ask, or you can make a note of them and you can ask later, or if you want, you can ask now also. Otherwise, I'll proceed with the next slide. What do you say? Shall I proceed with next slide? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I already told that for every biasing circuit, we will be calculating the operating point, then stability factors S, S dash, S double dash, right? Now for this fixed bias circuit, we calculated the operating point. Next, we have to do the stability factors derivation S, S dash, S double dash. So the next slide will be the stability factor S. You already know the stability factor S. How did we derive this expression? We can start from the beginning, or because we have got a standard derivation of S as S is equal to 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta into dou IB by dou IC, we can directly take this formula of S is equal to 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta into dou IB by dou IC. Simply just you calculate what is dou IB by dou IC and substitute in this. Then you will get the final answer. Okay. So this is the formula readily available for us, which was obtained from the standard equation of the transistor current. Then IB dou IB by dou IC we have want, right? IB expression you should know for this particular fixed bias, which was already derived in the previous slides by applying the KVL to the base emitter circuit. So if you apply KVL to base emitter loop, we will be calculating the equation for the base current as IB is equal to VCC minus VBE by RB. Now this IB, if I want to differentiate with respect to IC, this VCC is a constant, VBE is constant, RB is a constant. So this entire IB is a constant actually. Okay. Now if you differentiate this constant with respect to IC, it will be 0. Dou IB by dou IC is equal to 0 because IB is a constant. IB is not dependent on IC. VCC is constant, VBE is constant, RB is constant. So IB is constant here. IB is constant. If you differentiate a constant with respect to variable IC, then you will get 0. Then same value of dou IB by dou IC is equal to 0. If you substitute in this formula, then you will get simply S is equal to 1 plus beta. S is equal to 1 plus beta is the answer for the stability factor of the fixed bias, which is given by equation number 5. Now, if suppose for a given transistor, the beta value is 100, then what is the stability factor? 101. 100 is 1 plus beta. S is equal to 1 plus beta is S is equal to 101. That means this S definition is what? Actually, S definition is dou IC by dou IC naught by taking VBE and beta constant. Right, this is the definition of the S. That means the variation of the collector current with respect to the variation of the reverse saturation current is what is S. So that means IC changes 101 times as much as changes in IC naught. If that means if IC naught changes, then IC changes 101 times. That means what? Ideally, the stability factor should be 0 or more close to 0. But in this case, what is the stability factor that we got? 101. 101 is very, very high. So that means what? The variation in IC naught will lead to 101 times variation in the IC. So that means what? The temperature increases, the reverse saturation current increases, and reverse saturation current increases, the collector current also increases. By how many times? 101 times it increases, because the stability factor we got it as 101 times. Okay, that means this stability factor of the fixed bias, the value is very high and it has got poor stability. This is one of the disadvantage of fixed bias. Disadvantage of fixed bias is it has got high S value. Okay, high S value means it has got very poor stability. Okay, so the stability factor of fixed bias is 1 plus beta. If beta is 100, S is equal to 101, but ideally the stability factor should be 0, but this stability factor of the fixed bias circuit is 101. That means the IC not increases, then IC increases 101 times. If IC increases 101 times, then definitely the operating point, which is y-intercept, the IC is y-intercept of the operating point, the y-intercept of the operating point is changing, then the position of the operating point changes, then it has got very poor stability. That is what is the conclusion from the stability factor S. Then next, S dash we have to calculate. Stability factor S dash we can derive from the basic expression, that is IC is equal to beta IB plus 1 plus beta times of IC naught, and IB we have to substitute in terms of VBE. Therefore, we have got already the formula for IB is VCC minus VBE by RB. Then you have to substitute this IB in this equation. Then you will get IC is equal to beta times of IB. IB is VCC minus VBE by RB plus 1 plus beta into IC naught. So this is the expression we got. Okay, standard IC expression is this one. This is standard collector current expression. And in this standard collector current expression, we are substituting IB in terms of VBE. Okay, so first you take standard collector current equation, that is first step. Second step, you substitute IB in terms of VBE, then you will get this equation. Then that equation, third step, differentiate that equation with respect to VBE. This is what is the procedure I told you to how to derive the S dash in the last class. S dash, how do we derive? Take the standard collector current expression or equation, substitute the IB value in terms of VBE, then differentiate that equation with respect to VBE. So now the same steps we are following. This is first step, standard expression I have taken. Second step, IB is replaced in terms of VBE. Third step, I am differentiating with respect to VBE. The differentiating that equation with respect to VBE, what you will get left hand side is dou IC by dou VBE is equal to the first term completely, beta into VCC minus VBE by RB. First term, if you take beta into VCC by RB, beta if you multiply inside, beta into VCC by RB is constant. Differentiation of that with respect to VBE is 0. Okay. The second term is beta multiplied inside the bracket minus beta into VBE by RB. VBE is a variable, beta and RB are constant. Then differentiation of that term with respect to VBE will be minus beta by RB. Then the last term is 1 plus beta into IC naught. 1 plus beta into IC naught, beta is constant, IC naught also is constant, only VBE is variable. So therefore that differentiation is 0. So simply you will get dou IC by dou VBE is equal to minus beta by RB. Dou IC by dou VBE, the definition is S dash. Therefore S dash you will get it as minus beta by RB. Okay, that is the expression for the stability factor S dash. Similarly, you do the stability factor S double dash. Again, you take the standard expression for the collector current. This is the standard expression for the collector current. Take standard collector current equation. Okay. Then you differentiate. This is already having beta into IB. IB is a constant, right? So otherwise, the second step also you can do it like second step. Again, IB in terms of VBE and beta. Even sometimes IB may be in terms of beta also. Okay. So we have to see. In this case, IB is not a function of beta. Therefore, I have not considered that. But it is better you substitute IB in terms of VBE and beta. Then only we will be able to differentiate that with respect to beta. Then third step is differentiate that expression with respect to beta now. S dash we have to differentiate with respect to beta. Yes, we have to differentiate with respect to S dash. We have to equation with respect to beta. Then what I will get is we get dou IC by dou beta differentiation. This equation dou IC by dou beta is equal to, okay. So this beta is a variable. So beta into IB, if you differentiate with respect to beta, you will get simply IB plus 1 plus beta into IC naught. IC naught if you multiply inside, IC naught plus beta IC naught. IC naught is a constant, the 0 plus beta IC naught. Beta is a variable, therefore you will get IC naught. So IB plus IC naught. Okay. IB plus IC naught is nothing but, again, if you write this and taking IC naught is very, very small, then you can rearrange the equation number, first equation, so that you will be getting IB plus IC naught as S double dash is equal to IC by beta. Okay. This first equation, if you write it like IC is equal to beta into IB plus IC naught plus beta into IC naught, and take common beta, then you will get IB plus IC naught plus IC naught. But this is approximately equal to beta into IB plus IC naught, since IC naught is very small. Okay. Then you will get this IB plus IC naught is equal to IC by beta. The same way we have written here. This is actual IB plus IC naught. I have written it as IC by beta. Equation number 7. So this is the formula for S double dash. Okay. So yes, S double dash, S dash. All these three parameters we have derived for the fixed bias circuit. And in the previous slides, we have derived the operating point also. VCEQ and ICQ we calculated from the base circuit and collector circuit. I hope you understood the fixed bias. Next, just advantages and disadvantages. This is a simple circuit which uses very few components. This has got just an RB resistor only. RC will be definitely there in any circuit. Transistor will be there, but battery will be there. Therefore, only one element, that is RB, is there. Therefore, very simple circuit with one element only, which is part of the biasing network. Apart from the DC battery and the load resistor of RC and transistor.
The operating point can be fixed anywhere in the active region of the characteristics by simply changing the value of RB. Thus, it provides the maximum flexibility in the design. That means just only one value it depends on. The operating point depends on only one value. If you choose that one value RB suitably, then operating point can be easily fixed in the active region. Okay. And with the rise in temperature, the operating point is not stable. Okay, the stability factor is very high. And if the transistor is replaced by another transistor of the value beta, then also your operating point may shift. So these are all the disadvantages. So because of the disadvantages, fixed bias circuit required some modifications, and those modifications are the RB is connected between the collector and base instead of supply to the base. Actually, RB is connected between supply and base. Okay. Now RB will connect it between collector and base. That modification we do, and that modified circuit now called as collector to base bias. Okay. So the next circuit will be some modifications that we keep it or do it for this fixed bias, and that circuit we call it as a collector to base bias. The circuit diagram you can just look into collector to base bias. Collector to base bias, the circuit diagram is, instead of connecting a resistance RB from the base to the power supply, we have just modified this. If you do like this, then we call that as a fixed bias. Okay. Now what we have done, I just removed this, and instead of connecting it here, I am just connecting that to the collector. Okay, instead of connecting this to the supply, I am connecting it here. Therefore, it became the circuit like this. So a RB resistor is connected between the supply voltage VCC and the base in the fixed bias circuit. Now the modification that I am keeping is this resistor RB, instead of connecting between VCC and base, I am connecting between collector and base. Okay, then this is nothing but this is actually a base is input, collector is output, now just output is connected to the input through a resistor RB, then this resistor is called as feedback resistor. So this method of biasing is also called as feedback resistor biasing. Or it is also called as collector feedback biasing. Collector is connected to the input of the base through a resistor. So this is also called as collector feedback bias. Okay, I hope you are understanding. Fixed bias and collector to base bias, the difference I am telling. Fixed bias, the resistor is connected between base and battery VCC. If you do like that, the stability factor value was very high. That was 1 plus beta. If beta is 100, 101. If stability is very high, stability factor is very high, then if temperature increases, IC not increases, thereby IC increases. If IC increases, which is y-intercept of the operating point position shifts. The am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So that is the thing. So now this is the modification. Again, same AC input is applied, and this is the coupling capacitor. This is also coupling capacitor. You will be getting AC output. Okay. Now, but these biasing circuits are only DC biasing. Therefore, I have to draw the
DC equivalent. Then the DC equivalent of that one will become, just you have to make this as 0, Vi is equal to 0 and XC is equal to infinity. That will become this XC is equal to infinity. So this will become open. This capacitor also becomes open. That means this portion of the circuit is disconnected. This portion of the circuit is disconnected. Only the middle region is taken, which is DC equivalent of the circuit. That circuit, if you redraw, then it has become this circuit. I hope you are understanding. So DC equivalent means AC is not considered. AC equivalent means DC is not considered. But both are available for the amplifier circuit. We have to independently analyze the circuit for DC separately and AC separately. But we will again merge those operations and those effects together, and we can visualize. So for visualizing the behavior of AC and DC on the circuit, we have to analyze independently, separately. Okay, but both simultaneously are occurring in the transistor operation while it is used as an amplifier. But for understanding purpose, we have to treat these two separately, and what is the behavior of DC on the transistor, what is the behavior of AC on the transistor, these two things we have to analyze. So in this chapter, we are analyzing only the effect of DC. Okay, and the effect of AC, we will look into this in the next chapter. Now I hope this DC equivalent circuit, how we obtained, we understood by making input voltage AC as 0, and for obtaining DC equivalent, for DC the capacitor acts like an open circuit. Therefore I made XC is equal to infinity. The capacitors are open. Capacitors are open, nothing but what the capacitor is removed. If the capacitor is removed, then the input circuit and the output circuit are disconnected. Only the middle portion of the circuit will be the overall DC equivalent. Therefore that is redrawn separately like this. Okay, now it has got a base resistor RB, which is connected between the base and the collector. This is the base and this is the collector. So therefore this collector is output, actually the base is input. So output is connected to the input through a resistor. Therefore it is called as collector to base bias, or collector feedback bias, or feedback resistor bias. Okay, these are the three names for this circuit. And the remaining portion of the circuit, earlier RC is existing, battery is existing, transistor is existing, everything is same. Even RB was also there in the previous circuit, but the position of RB is changing here. Now what will be this effect? For this also we have to derive the operating point by applying the KVL to the input circuit and KVL to the output circuit, and we have to derive the expressions for the stability factors S, S dash, S double dash. Okay, now we will start the derivation, the circuit analysis for the base circuit. Now this is the circuit. In this, the base circuit will be the input circuit. Whatever the path that I am drawing in the pink color line, that is your input portion of the circuit. This is your input portion of the circuit. So this input circuit is also called as base circuit or base emitter circuit. Base emitter circuit. Okay. Now this circuit, I have to apply the KVL. If you apply KVL to the base emitter circuit, now what happens? It starts from plus VCC. This is plus VCC. And in this, here you have to observe, there are three different branches are there, which are represented by the current in the RC resistor is IC dash. The current in the RB resistor is IB. The current that is flowing into the collector, this is the collector terminal of the transistor is IC. Okay. Now if you apply KCL at this node, KCL, then what it will be? KCL IC dash is equal to, IC dash is that the current coming into the node is equal to current leaving out of the node. IC dash is equal to IB plus IC. Okay, that means the current that is flowing in this RC resistor is IB plus IC. Then what will be the voltage across this resistor? This resistor, it is IC plus IB into RC.
is the voltage across the resistor RC, because IC dash is IB plus IC. Okay, IB plus IC or IC plus IB. You can write IB plus IC. Okay, IB plus IC into RC. Then what will be the voltage in the RB resistor? IB RB. Then what will be the voltage in the base emitter loop? Plus minus VBE. Now keep on adding all these things, you will get the KVL. Okay, so VCC plus VCC minus IB plus IC into RC minus IB RB minus VBE is equal to 0. Is it okay? So this is minus VCC. If you take minus common, you will get this equation. You can write it in the clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. Minus VCC. This is plus IB plus IC into RC. Right. In this it is plus, this is the voltage across this resistor RB in the clockwise direction, plus IB into RB. Coming to the transistor, it is already written here, plus VB, plus VB. Now all these four terms, you just add 1, 2, 3, 4 terms in the clockwise direction. So in the clockwise direction, if you add, you will get minus VCC plus IB plus IC into RC plus IB into RB plus VBE is equal to 0. If you take minus common for this expression, it will become anti-clockwise direction. That's what is written here. Minus VCC become plus VCC. Plus IB plus IC into RC become minus. The third term plus IB RB become minus IB RB. The fourth term plus VBE has become minus VBE. So this equation is for clockwise direction. This equation is for anti-clockwise direction. That's all. By taking minus common, that does not give any difference in the equation. Just taking minus common and sending it to the right side will become 0 only anyhow. And by taking the rearranging that, you will get VCC is equal to this equation. From this equation, you substitute. I want this entire equation to be the result as IB only. IB, if you want, what I have to do, IC is also there. We know the relationship between IB and IC. IC can be written as beta times of IB, and take common wherever IB is there and rearrange that equation to get the equation number 1, which is IB. Or you can even calculate directly IC also by writing IB is equal to IC by beta. Okay, IB, IC both terms are there. We have to convert it into any one of the term, either IB or IC. Then you will get equation number 1 and equation number 2. That's all. The relationship between IB and IC you already know. IC is equal to beta IB or IB is equal to IC by beta. If you substitute, then you will get either IB or IC, both equations. Now IC you got nothing but what? This is what is y-intercept of the operating point. Q. Y-intercept of Q. So we got that y-intercept of Q from the base emitter circuit, which is one operating point intercept. Okay, so half of that operating point we got it. Now another half, another x-intercept, if you want, you have to apply the KVL to the collector circuit. Now collector circuit, if you take, now collector circuit in this case will be this portion of the circuit. This is collector circuit. Now that one, if you write it here, again it will be IC dash. IC dash is nothing but, here it is plus VC. If you write it in the clockwise direction or anti-clockwise, whatever it may be, suppose it is clockwise direction. If you write clockwise direction, then this will be minus VCE. Okay. Then in this resistor RC, it is minus IC dash means what? IB plus IC into RC, and this will be plus VCC. Now these three terms, if you write the KVL, you will get minus VCE in the clockwise direction. KVL, if you apply, minus VCE minus IB plus IC into RC plus VCC is equal to 0 in the clockwise direction. If you take minus common in this equation, you will get anti-clockwise direction. That's what is written here, anti-clockwise direction. The KVL is here, plus VCC has become minus VCC. Minus IB plus IC into RC, we got it as plus IB plus IC into RC. Minus VCE, we got it as plus VC is equal to 0. Then VCE is equal to, we got this equation. IC already we calculated in the previous equation, equation number 2. IB also is calculated in the equation number 1. Those two you have to substitute here. Okay, then you will get the expression for VCE, which is x-intercept of the operating point, x-intercept of Q. So finally I have written what is operating point is. From the base circuit we got IC, from the collector circuit we got VCE, then your operating point is calculated like this. Finally you got the operating point, because all these values are known. VCC is fixed, beta value is for a given transistor is fixed, VBE is available 0.7 for silicon, then RB RC values are given for the in the circuit. So these all values are known values. Then you have to calculate the unknown values are operating point intercepts Q, IC, VCEQ and ICQ. So what is the procedure that we followed to calculate this VCEQ and ICQ? Just by applying the KVL to the input circuit and KVL to the output circuit. KVL to the input circuit, you calculate IB and IC. KVL to the output circuit, you calculate VCE. Okay, so like that. I hope you understood the operating point derivation for the collector to base bias circuit diagram. I will now go with the next derivations of S, S dash, S double dash. Is it okay? Is it okay? Am I audible? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Just tell me, because I have a network issue here in the college. So I have a doubt whether I am able to reach you or not. In between, just tell yes. Okay, next. Next, stability factor S. Stability factor S is defined by this equation. S is equal to 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta into dou IB by dou IC. Okay. So we have the KVL to the base emitter loop already. We got that equation. Then from that from this equation, we can differentiate this equation with respect to IC. Then we will get dou IB by dou IC value. So this KVL to the base emitter loop is this one, right? From this one, what we will do is we will calculate, we'll differentiate this with respect to IC. Then what you will get left hand side is 0. Then is equal to right hand side will be RC plus RB into dou IB by dou IC, dou IB by dou IC into RC plus RB plus with respect to IC, if you differentiate this to IC into RC, then you will get RC, then plus VBE with respect to IC is 0. So this one, if you get dou IB by dou IC will become, okay, minus RC by RC plus RB. That's what we got it here. The same thing we just go and substitute here. Then it will become S is equal to 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta into minus RC by minus to minus will become plus. So your stability factor value will be this one. Now for fixed bias, what was the stability factor? For fixed bias, you got it as S is equal to simply 1 plus beta. Now you got it as 1 plus beta by 1 plus beta into RC by RC plus RB. Okay. So that means what? This 101 is divided by 1 plus 100 into some resistance fraction. So therefore, the stability factor now depends on, for collector to base bias, yes, depends on the values of RB and RC. Right. Now you have to choose, we have to choose RB and RC values such that such that S is as small as possible. So this is, there is a controlling now. Earlier it is S is equal to 1 plus beta, but beta is only a transistor dependent. Beta, a transistor with beta 50 I can take, a transistor with beta 100 I can take, I can use it here. So there is no control, only the transistor beta value is deciding the stability factor in the fixed bias. Whereas in this case, not just the beta value, even RC and RB values are also available. Now this RC and RB values we have to choose suitably, that this S value will be as small as possible. So the stability factor is smaller than the value obtained by the fixed bias circuit. Also, the S can be made smaller by making RB small or RC large. Okay, two ways. Either you can choose a RB value very small or RC value very large, so that this fraction will make it very close to 0 or very small as possible. Okay, so that is what is the conclusion in the character to base bias. So fixed bias is does not depend on the resistor values, only depends on the beta value, and that beta value is definitely high between 20 to 200. Therefore the stability factor is high. But whereas in this case, the stability factor is not just dependent on beta, but it is also dependent on the values of RC and RB. We have to choose RC and RB in such a way that the S value can be as small as possible. Okay, that is the conclusion for this stability factor. So the formula for this is equation number 4. You need not remember the formula, you remember the standard formula of the stability factor as 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta into dou IB by dou IC, and you can write the KVL instantly for the base emitter loop and simply differentiate that with respect to IC and substitute the related value there, then you will get equation number 4. So procedure you remember, not the formula. Next, stability factor S dash. Again, you know the procedure how to do that. We take the expression for IC and do the calculate, substitute that IC value in terms of IB value in terms of VB, all those things. But we have already derived the KVL equation and we found out the expression for IC separately. And now if you differentiate that IC equation with respect to VBE, we got already from the this we got it from KVL to base emitter loop. Base emitter loop, we got the expression for IC, which is the operating point. From the operating point we calculated, right? For the operating point we calculated the same equation I'm using. So differentiate that with respect to VBE. Now if you differentiate that with respect to VBE, what happens here? This beta into VC by RB plus 1 plus beta into RC is first term. Okay, so the first term here, this is beta into VCC by RB plus 1 plus beta into RC, minus second term minus beta into VBE by, again the denominator is same, RB plus 1 plus beta into RC. Now if I want to differentiate with respect to VBE, the remaining IC naught and beta are considered as constants. Okay, now in this first term VCC is constant. Now beta also should be treated as constant when I am differentiating that with respect to VBE. Stability factor S dash, IC naught and beta are constants. So here beta is constant, RB is constant, beta is constant, RC. That means this entire first term is constant. Now second term is, this entire thing is constant and VBE is a variable. Now what will be the differentiation of this equation with respect to VBE? You will get it as differentiation will become dou IC by dou VBE will become, the first term is constant 0, the second term the entire thing is constant and the variable is VBE, and I want to differentiate that with respect to VBE, then the remaining constant only will be available. So minus beta by RB plus 1 plus beta into RC. That's what is the answer here. So your S dash value is simply minus beta by 1 RB plus 1 plus beta into RC. That is equation number 5. Is it okay? Next, similarly, you calculate the stability factor S double dash. The same equation you take, differentiate that with respect to beta. Now when I am differentiating with respect to beta, IC naught and VBE are treated as constants now. Now this equation, we have got VCC minus VBE is constant, but here numerator we have got a beta term and denominator also we have got a beta term. It is almost like a U by V formula. Okay, numerator has got, I want to differentiate this equation with respect to beta, where beta is there in the numerator as well as in the denominator. So it is a differentiation of u by v formula you have to apply. How do you do that? This VCC minus VBE is constant. The first, I am keeping the constant apart. And the remaining term is beta by RB plus 1 plus beta into RC is there, right? Remaining portion. Now u by v formula if you apply, the denominator is v square. Therefore, I got it as RB plus 1 plus beta into RC whole square. And the numerator will be v into differentiation of u, v into differentiation of u minus u into differentiation of v by v square. The same thing I have applied. So v into differentiation of u is just beta. Differentiation of beta with respect to beta is only 1 into 1 minus u is beta, differentiation of v. Differentiation of v is rb is constant plus rc is constant plus beta rc is there, where beta is variable, rc is constant, then only rc will be available. So into minus beta into rc. That can be written as here denominator square is there, right? Denominator square is there. I will just take out that one value rb plus 1 plus beta into rc separately, and this constant vcc minus vbe is anyhow there, that I'll write it as separately, this term. One of the square, one term here I am taking here, the remaining term will be available for the next. Then the numerator, what is that you have in this particular bracket? What is that you have? You just write rb plus 1 plus beta multiplied with rc, you will get rc plus beta rc minus beta rc by one term already, this denominator is square, right? That's out of square, one term I applied to this first constant that is there in this bracket, pink color bracket. The remaining is only rb plus 1 plus beta into rc is available. Now minus beta rc plus beta rc cancel. And this denominator also, if you just multiply this 1 plus beta into rc, you split it, if you split that, then this will become rb plus rc plus beta rc. Just 1 plus beta into rc, I'm multiplying rc multiplying into with 1 plus rc multiplied with beta, it will become like this. Then if you write this remaining part, if you bring this rb plus rc into denominator, then it will become 1 by rb plus rc by rb plus rc is 1 plus beta into rc by rc plus rb. Is it not like this? The same thing we got the second term here. Is it okay? Now this VCC minus VBE, this first term, first bracket is there, no? First bracket, VCC minus VBE by RB plus 1 plus beta and RC, this term. That is nothing but your IB. Here IC is equal to beta times of IB, right? This entire thing will be IB. So simply I am writing this first term as IB. And the remaining term, it is the formula for S. S is equal to, in this case, is 1 plus beta by 1 plus beta into RC by RC plus RB. That's what we calculated in equation number 4. This is equation number 4 in the previous slide. We got the stability factor formula is S is equal to 1 plus beta by 1 plus beta into. Now, this bracket, second term bracket here, 1 by 1 plus beta can be written as S by 1 plus beta simply. Then you will get the equation number 6 as the answer. The first term is IB, second term is S by 1 plus beta. This is S, this term, the second term is S by 1 plus beta. The first term is IB. Then you will get IB into S by 1 plus beta, where S is equal to this one. So that is equation number 6. Stability factor S double dash is IB into S by 1 plus beta. Just I have written S double dash in terms of S. That is the way how I can rearrange and I do it. Otherwise, you don't do all these simplifications. Just you can put the above equation as it is. There is nothing we don't want the results, all those things. Only the procedure how to do the derivation is important. The result you can stop it at any step here. After differentiation, dou IC by dou beta, you just got that expression, right? VCC minus VBE into that entire bracket. You just leave it there itself. Don't further proceed. You can just leave there and that itself is the answer. Okay. So this is the procedure. How do we do the state derivations for S, S dash and S double dash, then operating point for these two biasing methods, fixed bias and collector to base bias. That's all. Lecture number 15 is over. So here we have studied two biasing methods, fixed bias and collector to base bias. In both these biasing methods, we calculated the operating point by applying KVL to the base circuit and by applying KVL to the collector circuit. We got IC and VCE. Then we derived the expressions for stability factors S, S dash, S double dash for both the biasing methods. And out of these two biasing methods, fixed bias has got high stability factor, and that the drawback is eliminated by collector to base bias, where the stability factor is value can be controlled by properly choosing the values of RB and RC. RB should be chosen small, RC should be chosen large, then you can have smaller value of S.